Good day everyone, I am a Friendly Tree and welcome to another episode of Nina Williams In Depth. Today we're going to talk about Nina's Spiral Bombshell Blast, or while running 1+2. Let's double check the settings. Looks good to me, looks good to me, looks good to me, so we'll make sure we get the player frame data display on. Yeah, everything else looks good. Okay, so Spiral Bombshell Blast. So you can see here the input is forward, forward, forward and both punch buttons, or 1+2. This is a new move that she got in Tekken 7 and it's a pretty good move actually. It's one of the few moves she's had that has been adjusted a lot. So we've had a lot of patches in Tekken 7 where this move has had property changes ever so slightly. So when it first came out, it had a lot of pushback on block and it was neutral on block, so 0 frames on block. But it's quite different now. Anyway, forward, 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 1+2. The move looks like that. You can see with the animation, Nina jumps during it. Alright. Startup frame says 20. Oh, sorry. 20. But in reality, with the input, if you're doing the input perfectly, you're looking at about 23 frames. You'll also see it says 20 to 21. So that means it's got 2 active frames. So 2 frames where it can make contact with the opponent. That's on hits. If we go guard all, it's now +4 on block. And the opponent's left kind of close. I mean, not nearly as good as something like Dragunov, but still at a good level. There are still some issues with this move. It looks great, like as a great approach tool, which is often a weakness of Nina's. But if we record, if we record it, so as she jumps, she's airborne. She's actually airborne from frames 5 to 17 on startup. So you can jab out. You can also do other things on approach. So you see they float, but if you get it at the right frames, you can still hit them normally. So some frames you'll float, some frames you can even counter hit them normally because they're just standing there. Which means, you can get things like, I can get the timing right. Nope, a bit too fast. Bit too slow. Way too slow. You get the idea. I want to try one more. One more. Okay, anyway, if you get the timing right, you can get a counter hit launch on them. So you can float them, you can float them for a juggle, and you can even counter hit launch or launch them normally before the move starts up. And one of the most annoying things with this is even though she's in a jump state, she can avoid lows, but sometimes on some of the frames, she can still be floated by lows too. So she's not in a true jump state, or she's in a very low jump state, where even the lowest of lows can still float her. Yes. Another problem, it's very linear. So very easy to step, and of course if you can step it, also got a lot of whiff recovery, so it's very easy to punish. Oh. So if you're predictable with it, yeah, you're in trouble. It has another issue. Let's say, okay, so we're +4, so let's do something. Let's do something like. Oh. So you see there, I can block it. It looks like I'm in a guessing game. But a lot of characters can just backdash out of this. Nina may not be a good example. But a lot of characters can just backdash out of that pressure. So it's one of those cases of just backdash and you get out of everything she can do, or definitely everything threatening she can do. Maybe a better way to demonstrate this would be with a low. Oh. Another issue, if you get the input wrong, you get a Neg 14 move. Not a good example for Nina. But maybe if I go, oh, let's go to the common example. Everyone loves Zafina. Zafina. Yeah. So you see what I mean there. And oh, what was I talking about? Yeah. Yeah, well, you get the idea anyway. So it's a lot of the pressure is kind of disregarded from that, unfortunately. At least at the wall. What other properties do we need to discuss with it? It's a high damage move. So, hold on, we want custom. Oh, preset 3, right. It's a high damage move. So, a good property with it is it's very easy to end combos with. So, for example, oh, come on. It's one of the few moves you can use after this many. Right? Oh. You guys just come here to watch me fail. See? Yeah. So a lot of the time for her max damage without rage combos, you use that move. Of course, if you do it after a combo, there's no guaranteed follow-up. You can't get a wall splat or anything off it, and it essentially puts you into a neutral position. So you can do some kind of running up, but that's about it. It does, however, cause a wall break, and on a high wall splat, you can use it before continuing a wall combo. And yeah, the damage is very high, so as you saw, 30 damage normally, 9 damage after max scaling. So you'll see here, 9 damage. So very good as a combo ender, but it doesn't allow wall carry, it's just for getting high damage and pushing the opponent away from you. Okay, on to everyone's favourite part, which of course is execution. So the move itself is listed as a forward, forward, forward. Forward, 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 1+2. I think a good way to think of this is you're doing forward plus 1+2 while you're in a running stance. See, if I do neutral 1+2, it doesn't work. So running stance, neutral 1+2. Oh, it does work actually, but it depends on the number of runs. But if you hold forward, you can do it no matter how far you run. So from max distance, you hold forward 1+2. So a good way to think of it is you're doing forward 1+2 while you're in a stance. If you're doing it in a combo, it doesn't matter too much. You just do forward, forward, forward 1+2, you get into the run, and you got it. And you can see you can just hold forward like that. Clearly if you're up close, you can't get into that running stance, you just have a dash. So if you use the idea that I'm talking about, you've got that moment when you're in a dash. And when you're in the dash, you can do anything. You can block, you can attack, you can do anything. So why can't, while you're in that stance, you do a forward 1+2? And if you're too slow, that's what happens. If you do it right, You get it like that. Too slow? Like that. Right, like that. So I think of it as a forward, neutral, forward 1+2. Yeah. If we swap sides, it's the same deal from here. So forward, you can hold the forward. Or you can press it multiple times if you want. If you do it wrong, you get that. If you do it right, you get that. Wrong. Right. Wrong. Actually tried to do it right then. Right. So it's all about the directional inputs, okay? You do it wrong if you try and do 3 in a row. You do it right if you try and get it in the stance. Well, if you can consider the dash a stance. See, now I'm having trouble because I'm trying to just do it 3 times in a row. Yeah. Alright, makes sense? I hope it does. And this is quite important. It's quite important to be able to do this instant up close. And I'll talk about that in a moment. Now, if we're going on to pad, my pad's been working a bit better lately, thankfully. So you can all see it there. So it's the exact same thing. So, by the way, it can be quite a good idea to have a button mapped. Like here, I've got 1+2 mapped up here. Because if you accidentally do 1-2 or 2-1, obviously it's not what you're going for. Okay, so from a distance, whoops, from a distance, it's forward 1+2 while running. When you're closer, you need to do 3 in a row. It's a good idea to do it. Consider the dash like a stance, like I said. Wow, damn it, that one I meant to actually do. Here we go. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. So if I swap sides, it's the exact same thing. Tip. Yeah. From a distance, running forward 1+2. When you're a little bit closer. Oh, sorry. When you're a little bit closer. Forward, 1+2. When you're point blank, forward, neutral, forward 1+2 is what I'd say. Oh. Yeah. Oh, wow. It's always when you're trying to demonstrate something. Yeah. So that's how you do the instant while running 1+2. Obviously, that applies to any instant while running move as well. So you don't think that this is wasted information, because things like instant while running moves are very important for other characters such as Dragunov, King, Kazumi, Armor King, anyone with very strong while running moves. I mean, even Mishimas really, because of their while running 3, and Law, and a lot of characters that have the really big while running 3 jump. A lot of characters take a lot of value out of being able to do instant while running moves. Alright, so the next big question of course is, how do we apply this move? It's had buff after buff and people are still a bit underwhelmed with how it works, because they want it to be the same as Dragunov's while running 2, which is, you know, a very, very strong pressure tool. Nina, of course, is not Dragunov. She has a lot of similarities with Dragunov, I suppose, but she is her own character. And so, I guess we can't expect her to have the same move as Dragunov, can we? But while running 1+2 is still a very good tool of hers. As I said before, it can be sidestepped very easily, so if you're doing things at range, you've got to be very careful of using it. but you can use it to bait people with. So you can use it to try and approach, see how they react, see if they step. If they don't, you can then use it, or you can just use your approach timing and figure out when you want to do it, and it's a good way to get in. If they're blocking, and more often than not you're going to get people blocking this move, from my experience at least. Oh, sorry. Depending on what they do, you can throw out something. But you got to be careful with it because of range. So you can use it to start pressure, or you can use it a few times in a row to help push them to the wall. And as always, the wall is where Nina shines. Depending on what you see them do, no reason why you can't use some of the down forward methods, or even a quarter circle forward move, depending on what you expect them to do. So you can use it to start your pressure. It's just a different type of pressure, okay? Different type of pressure compared to Dragunov's. If you do see people approach though, a good option to mix it up could be just run up, down forward 1+2, or a little bit riskier but high reward, run up 3-4, or run up forward 3, input as run up forward 3+4. Yeah. So that's a big part of it. Another common thing we talked about, of course, is using it as a combo ender. So when you've done too many hits in the combo, often it's the only thing or the best damage thing you can do that will connect. If you do somehow get, more hits and it won't connect, you're stuck to doing something like a quarter circle forward 3. But most of the time, it's more beneficial or more practical to do something that can end in a while running 1+2 instead. You can actually use it with some different Oki mix-ups, which we'll go over quickly. So, really, the purpose of this is, I guess you're using it on a hard read or to continue pressure, like that. So you see how it beats a get-up kick in that situation? Oh, sorry. And I mean, it's gonna go over a recovery kick too. Oh my god. Yeah. The catch here, of course, is if they just stay on the ground, or if they do something that doesn't get them up. Oh, sorry. You have to mix it up with that. Or something else that hits OTG. But yeah, you're left pretty vulnerable there. Spring attack as well. Yeah. So you can see how it can be used for pretty good Oki there. And there are other situations too, where you can use it as an... Actually, we'll go to wake up low again. You can use it as an approach tool if you anticipate they're going to do something, they're going to try and wake up. So, for example, any sort of knockdown really. If they try and get up immediately, it'll beat wake up actions. But it's the same weakness as the Oki I showed just before. But yeah, it's worth using. If you know that they're constantly pressing buttons, if you're unsure about the spacing and being able to whiff punish and launch, it's a good way you can do it. And if you think they're just going to get up and block, also how you can continue your pressure, so you can get up close and continue your pressure. Now, let's go to our favourite modded Mishima Dojo. So as I showed before, mid-screen, a lot of her options can be backdashed by opponents, or even sidestepped, especially the more evasive characters like Zafina, for example. If we do something like backdash, guard, or... Oh. So in this matchup, it's not too bad. But a lot of the matchups, it's a different story. So with that in mind, you've got to be very cautious what you use following up, and I would generally use the frame advantage as a tool to see how the opponent reacts, because if they're backdashing, maybe you could instead chase them. If they're sidestepping, you can just go straight for something that'll catch them stepping, depending on the direction, depending on which way. Could even be something like that. So use it as a tool to read the opponent, and as I said before, good way to push them to the wall. And when they're at the wall, it's not so easy for them to just backdash, is it? So suddenly at the wall, you've got a good tool to keep yourself +4 and throw out different options that wouldn't normally reach mid-screen. Yeah. At the wall itself, you can use it. Oh, let's just set them by the wall. You do get a proper wall splat from it, the kind that you can do what you want from. Like, oh, yeah. Or I'm pretty sure you can even. Okay, not quite. You can do this though. Oh, if you delay the side step a little bit more. Oh, come on. Nah, it's a bit awkward there, but you can see how you can get a resplat very easily. So it's a high damage wall combo starter. Yeah. So it can be very threatening at the wall as a mix-up, especially if you think someone's going to do something like a dick jab, or just a low in general to try and get out of pressure. And likewise with some of the frames, they might be throwing out something else to try and get out of pressure. And if you're in an airborne, if you're in a jump state, it can get you out of that. So that's what I think is a good application of the move. That you generally be using it to get a read on what the opponent is going to do afterwards and help you decide the pressure. Because obviously you're not going to be able to do this over and over again against every single opponent. But those who will let you get away with it, you can even use it, well, you can use it to push them, you can use it for space control in that way, you can use it to start pressure, you can use it to get Nina in the position that she wants to be, really. And then you can do whatever pressure you want from there. Yeah, you get the idea. So, I think it's, even though it's not as strong as people were hoping it would be with all the balance changes, the balance changes, it is still a really good tool that she has, and I am very thankful that we got this new running move in Tekken 7. Can you imagine what our combo enders would look like a lot of the time if we didn't have this move? It's very, very commonly used in wall hits and wall combos, and the fact that we have an approach move that's plus on block, regardless of the frames on startup, regardless of the weaknesses of it, it helps address something that Nina has a lot of trouble with. Maybe not as well as we'd like, but it still is helping that. And honestly, the more tools we can have, the better. Or the better tools we can have, the better. But it's not just a tool that's buffing her wall carry or anything, it's a tool that's buffing one of her identified weaknesses. Alright, well thank you very much for watching this, everybody. Please, as always, please like and subscribe. I'm really enjoying making this content. I hope you're enjoying watching it too. Let me know how you use her while running 1+2. Are there any situations I haven't mentioned? I'm sure there are hundreds. I'd like to hear how you use it. Please comment below. And I'll see you all next time. See you later.
You win.
What's done is done.